It's easy to assume you know everything about the objects you encounter on the daily, but even the most seemingly mundane items can harbor a few secrets you'd never expect. From surprising functions in the gadgets you use every day to game-changing elevator hacks, let's find out some amazing secrets hidden in everyday things. Secrets of the sound. Have you ever noticed how satisfying the sound of closing the door of a nice car can be? It's a small detail that most people never notice, but you'd be surprised to know how much effort car companies put into creating that sound. Car manufacturers devote entire teams to making sure a car door feels and sounds solid. As studies have shown, these factors create a perceived sense of quality. While car doors nowadays can be manufactured out of lightweight materials, these naturally give off a tinnier sound than heavier materials used in the past, making them feel flimsy. To compensate, car companies employ sound engineers to ensure that cars have the right combination of foam, mats, door materials, and locking mechanisms for that hefty, satisfying ka-chunk. Keep an ear out next time you go for a ride. But for satisfying sounds and sights that don't require going outside, like this video and subscribe to be amazed. The fascinating content I upload daily will satisfy all your desires to keep up to date with the best facts, tips, and true stories from around the world. And if you know of a few amazing secrets hidden in everyday things of your own, why not share them in the comments below? You might end up featured with a shout out in the next episode. But for now, let's get back to some more secrets courtesy of yours truly. Clamshell solutions. Clamshell packaging is, quite frankly, the work of Satan. It seems almost impossible to open without damaging either yourself or the item inside. But stress no more. Turns out you can open this notoriously infuriating packaging with something you probably have lying around in a kitchen drawer. Simply take a can opener, latch it onto the edge of the packaging like you would a can, and twist. Before you know it, the package will be opened and you'll be saved from throwing your newly purchased items across the room in a fit of rage. Antibacterial doorknobs. Have you ever noticed how a lot of door handles and knobs are made of shiny, gold-colored brass? This isn't a coincidence, and while it's most often a stylistic choice, its usefulness goes beyond classy home decor. Brass is a very durable metal and is resistant to corrosion from oils and moisture from human hands, but it's also useful for anyone trying to keep germs to a minimum. Unsurprisingly, bacteria tend to congregate on places regularly touched by human hands, and doorknobs are no exception. That is, unless the doorknob's made of brass, which contains copper, a metal with highly effective antibacterial properties. In fact, copper molecules are so toxic to bacteria cells, they can kill up to 99% of bacteria deposited on brass door handles in as little as 2 hours. This includes dangerous bacterial strands like E. coli. The stainless steel and plastic door handle alternatives that are way more common nowadays, meanwhile, can harbor these same germs for days at a time. So, next time you're thinking of redecorating, consider opting for brass fittings and handles, and keep your hands clear of unwanted free riders. Hanger defense. There are few things more concerning than opening up your wardrobe only to see a moth fly out, or worse, multiple moths. Moths love to lay their eggs in certain types of clothing, usually wool or silk, because the natural fibers, as well as the dust and skin cells our clothes trap, provide a food source. Once the moths are in, it can be very difficult to get rid of them, but not impossible. Warding them off is sometimes just a matter of choosing the right kind of clothes hanger. Wood hangers are generally pretty great for sturdily storing clothes, but it's cedar wood specifically that'll give you the edge against the moth menace. Cedar wood contains oils that are toxic to moth larvae eggs, so much so that moths have evolved to be repulsed by the mere aroma of the wood. Humans have been using this handy trick for millennia, opting for cedar wood in the construction of textile stores and storage containers to keep wares safe from hungry moths. So, put this ancient knowledge to use in protecting your finest garms, either by using cedar hangers or, better yet, buying cedar wood wardrobes and drawers. Spaghetti smarts. Ever been happily ladling your spaghetti onto a plate only for this mysterious hole in your spaghetti spoon to catch your eye, replacing pasta-based excitement with unquenchable curiosity? Well, let me tell you what the purpose of that hole really is. For starters, it helps drain out any residual water from the pasta before plating. But the reason for its specific size is to help you before you start cooking. That hole is there to help you measure out the perfect amount of spaghetti for one person. Simply place your uncooked spaghetti into the hole, and when no more fit, you've got yourself a portion. Some particularly fancy spaghetti spoons even have multiple holes, accommodating for double and half servings as well as the usual single serving. But of course, a mere half serving of spaghetti is a crime against the great nation of Italy, punishable by more spaghetti. Nail polish power. When you think of nail polish, you probably picture beauty treatments at the local salon, and for most instances of its usage, you'd be right. But very few people realize that nail polish is actually a very handy thing to have in your household toolbox. Sounds crazy, but thanks to its unique waterproofing and adhesive properties, it's super useful for creating protective seals and sticking certain things together. If you hate licking envelopes, you can save yourself the trouble by applying some clear nail polish along the flap instead before sealing. It'll hold the envelope shut even more securely than the cheap glue that's usually used. If you notice your shoelaces are fraying at the end, you can fix them by twisting the strands together and either dunking the end into a pot of nail polish or painting some on. Colored or clear polish, it's your choice. And if you're sewing but are struggling to thread the needle, there's a nail polish solution for that too. Applying a little polish to the end of a thread makes its fibers stick together, while also making it stiffer and therefore easier to push through the eye of a needle. Whether or not you decide to paint your nails a fabulous color before you carry out all these modifications and repairs, I'll leave entirely up to you. Super silica packets. These small packets of silica gel are a common source of confusion when people find small piles of them inside newly purchased items. They're usually clearly marked "do not eat," but don't give many clues to their actual purpose, which it turns out is keeping things free from moisture. The packets contain little balls of silicon dioxide, or silica, a highly porous compound that's extremely effective at absorbing water molecules from the surrounding air and environment. This is handy for making sure products arrive to you in top-notch condition, but there's also a surprising number of other uses. For starters, they're one of the best ways to attempt to safely revive a non-waterproof phone that's been dropped in water. If the phone is turned off before the water damages its circuitry, placing it in a bowl filled with silica packets in a warm place increases its chances of successfully drying out. Assuming the worst of the water is dried off with a clean towel beforehand, it should dry internally if left completely surrounded in silica packets for around 72 hours. As long as enough internal moisture is absorbed, it won't short-circuit when switched back on. Though if the phone has already short-circuited, the irreparable damage has already been done. But smartphone resuscitation isn't the only use of silica packets. You can place them in gym bags to absorb sweaty moisture and prevent a stanky buildup, or place your shaving razor in a sealed container with a handful of them to prevent rust. You can place them along the bottoms of windows to reduce condensation buildup, or even put a glass filled with them inside a carved Halloween pumpkin to slow its decay. Essentially, any instance you want to keep something moisture-free, silica packets are the way to go. One thing silica packets aren't good at, though, is being a tasty snack. Those do not eat warnings are there for a reason, given the toxic additives the gel contains, so don't swap them out for popping candy. T-Rex's offline fun. Losing your internet connection in the middle of doing something is a truly infuriating first-world problem. But thankfully, Google Chrome users can distract themselves from that Wi-Fi dropout rage thanks to a little secret hidden in their browser. When you're using Chrome and find yourself disconnected, this page will appear. When it does, just press the up key on your keyboard, and it'll trigger a fun platformer minigame where you guide a jolly T-Rex on his adventures through a cactus-filled landscape. Because everyone knows nothing soothes rage like goofy 8-bit dinosaurs.